Chase said, my name is Sam. I've worked at Shopify. I'm coming on my 4th year anniversary in October. So currently I work as a partner manager, and prior to that, I was actually on our support team as a guru for about a year and a half. So hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to a lot of you who are running stores and help answer questions. Just give me a second to figure this out. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about one of the pages that is one of the most frequently visited on any website, but it's also one of the most neglected, your About Us page. So why is it important? With an online business, your customers generally don't have an opportunity to walk into your store, meet your team, talk to you, and get an understanding for your business and why you started it. So your About Us page can really replicate that experience. And for so many companies, when they're first starting out, their About Us page really takes a back burner, and more important, or seemingly more important tasks tend to take priority. So this ends up resulting in a few hastily written paragraphs that are only found through a link buried in the footer of your site. I'm sure a few of you are like, yeah, I can totally relate to that. So it's really a missed opportunity to communicate your story and your brand to visiting customers. So your About Us page should really be, if somebody comes to you and they're wanting to understand your brand and why you started and meet your team, your About Us page should be the single page that you can send them so that they can really get a feeling for your company. So some things to consider including are why you started the company. Do you have a unique process for how your products are made? Really introducing your team. So over the 4 years that I've worked at Shopify, I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of events and talk to hundreds of merchants and partners, whether it's through our support channels or in person. And so often they'll come up to me and have this really amazing story about their company and why they started. I'll pull up their website and none of that is communicated. So it really, really is a missed opportunity to be able to get people to connect with your brand. And it's also a way to communicate. So people end up on your site because they're interested in the products that you sell. Your About Us page is your opportunity to communicate not why they should buy the products, but why they should be buying them from you. With online shopping, there's generally somewhere else that they could go and buy similar products. So it's your opportunity to really create that personal connection with your potential customers. So, sorry, 2 seconds here. So since your About Us page is being used to help people understand your brand, the best way to communicate that is through telling a story. So stories really have the benefit of being more memorable than simply presenting facts, and it helps visitors really stay engaged, and it communicates your personality. So it helps your visitors really develop an emotional connection with your company. It can be really difficult to know how to position that. So one of the professional writers at Shopify, Brevin, who's a content creator for our blog, created a template to help in crafting a narrative for your About Us page. So we're gonna go through that quickly. So the first thing you wanna do is really set the scene. So establish the status quo, or the way things were for yourself, your customers, or your industry before you started. And then introduce the problem. So talk about what led you to creating your company. What problem were you trying to solve? So a good example for that would be the really popular mattress in a box movement that's happening right now. So I know everyone, I'm sure, has gone to a store, gone around a brick and mortar showroom, sat on a bed for 15 seconds, and you're like, okay, I'll just take this one. So that definitely was a problem in the industry. So we have tons of companies that are now coming to the stage and solving that by being able to do home delivery and giving a 100-day guarantee to send the mattress back if you don't like it. So that's where we rise to the challenge. So how are we solving that problem? And then we're arriving at our solution and envision what's next for your company. So what are the things that you could be doing next to improve the industry that you're selling to? But your About Us page shouldn't just tell the story behind your company, it should show it. So this is your opportunity to incorporate different forms of media to engage your visitors. Earlier I mentioned that your About Us page would be a great place to showcase the cause that your business serves or the types of customers, or how your products are made if you have a unique process. So this could be done in a few different ways. One way to do this is through video. So the other thing that you can use on your About Us page is illustrations. So we have this illustration. This is from a company called Tuluma Totes. This is a pretty simple illustration, and from it we can understand where they're sourcing their fabrics. I do have a pointer. So where they're sourcing their fabrics, they're using traditional fabrics. They have the totes made by adults with disabilities, and then they're giving 20% of the profits back to the totes country. So within that really, really simple illustration, we get a good feeling for where the products come from, the materials come from, where they're made, and the community service that they're doing. So another way, of course, is photography. So this is a company called Death Wish Coffee, and they've used photography on their site to show their team members. And by using the photography, they've not only introduced a human aspect to their company, but they've also really communicated their brand's personality. So instead of using, standard headshots, they're pretty fun photographs, and they also link through to profiles for each of the members on their team. So they have podcast interviews, videos, stories about how they started with the company, why they started with the company. Oh, now it's working. Cool. Okay, so when I was doing this presentation, actually, I spent too much time on Death Wish Coffee's website and went down a bit of a rabbit hole by clicking through to these profiles. And what that really allowed me to do was continue my journey with the brand. So I was able to look at videos, podcasts from these companies, and that resulted in me purchasing 2 bags of coffee, which are being sent to my house right now. So it really, really does capture visitors and allows you to create a connection with them. Okay. So your About Us page can really, really help sell your products. So don't let it become an afterthought. Give it the time that it deserves, and allow your customers to make that human connection with your brand, your product, and your team. And don't forget to provide calls to action within your About Us page so that they can continue the journey, follow your blog, links to your Instagram page, whatever's going to allow them to stay in touch. And don't forget to keep updating your About Us page. So you may feel like at the beginning you don't have a lot to say, but as your company grows and matures, you'll be able to go back and continue adding milestones to that page. And people do continue to return to it, even regular customers. So make sure that they want to go back and continue reading your story. So that's all from me. And I hope to have a chance to talk to all of you. I'm going to be here afterwards, so please come and say hi.